Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I have got a game between LiquidSheth and LaZ, L-A-Z, LaZ, I'm going to call him LaZ, and LaZ is the red Protoss player in the left position, and we have got Sheth as the blue Zerg player in the south position. The map is Antigua Shipyard, and this is a PvZ, so I am hoping you are looking forward to it. This is of course from the Razor Replay Pack of the Week, which is released on Team Liquid Pro every week, and it is full of awesomeness, so frankly check it out, because boy is it win. It's made of win. It is the winningest win pack of the week for me, so definitely check it out every week. It's fantastic. And we will see LaZ. Well, map is of course Antigua Shipyard. It is pretty safe to defend this third. A wall off isn't it's not the easiest map to wall off, but LaZ just going to go for it. Obviously this third base quite easy to take for both players as well, because frankly it's not too much harder holding this position compared to this position, just because of this little island in the middle here. So that's quite cool, especially with force fields as well. You can defend this area really easily as a Protoss player. Sheth could have a bit more problems, but we'll see what he goes for. It probably will be a pull first from Sheth, just because obviously the risk of being cannoned or anything like that, your natural, is huge, and frankly you need Zerglings there just to be safe. Economically, it's not too much worse than getting that hatch first, so it's kind of swings and roundabouts. LaZ not going to be doing anything too crazy like a Nexus first, getting that Forge first, so it's going to be a Forge fast expand. And Sheth is actually, he's going to just prove me wrong. He's going to build the hatch first, because that's what Sheth does. Like, I swear it's kind of like the caster's curse, that you say a player is going to do something and then they just do the opposite. Now this probe will get scouted though by the drone, so we won't probably be seeing any kind of cannons go down. The pool just starting now for Sheth at 15, and this probe is getting in there, just looking like he could be wanting to do some damage, and instead just running around. Sheth actually getting a bit nervous by this and pulling down 2 more drones just to try and prevent any sort of shenanigans going from this probe. And I can't really blame him, because there's nothing worse than getting taken out by cannons at your natural. It just makes you really sad face. Obviously though, we will see that LaZ is getting his own expansion up, getting a cannon at his front door just to defend everything, and he will be just pretty fine. I mean, that probe will eventually go down, and very quickly against 3 drones, and that just means now that Sheth is safe. That natural base is coming up super early, and he doesn't really have to worry. He knows exactly what's going on because of this Overlord. No gas coming down at all yet from LaZ, so both players are looking pretty damn safe. And there we go, natural base down for Sheth, so this is pretty good. And obviously LaZ, likewise, he's in a good spot. He's just chrono boosting out probes, he's getting his second Nexus down, and to be honest, I will expect to see Sheth take this third base pretty damn quickly. Obviously it's not as quick as he normally would have done, but he is moving something up there now, so I mean, ideally you're looking at about 4 minutes 20 against the Forge Fast Expand to get your third. Obviously Sheth getting about 4 minutes 40. Not ideal, but obviously he did have to deal with that probe first, and I mean, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Meanwhile, we will obviously see Sheth is just getting out a lot of drones. He's doing nothing but drone, and to be honest, LaZ is doing nothing but get probes. That cybernetics core will finish off this wall off, apart from a very small little gap there, which is just big enough for some units to sneak through. So obviously that's fine. This Zealot will complete the wall off as soon as it pops out, and this one Zergling is going to try and kill the probe, but the probe will see that this third base has gone down. But obviously the Zergling will just still stop any sort of cannons being dropped at the third, which would of course be a nightmare for Sheth to try and deal with, because it would mean he'd have to build more Zerglings, and frankly that's one thing you don't want to do early game as a Zerg player, is have to build anything other than drones. Meanwhile, we will see that LaZ is getting his third gas to complement the 2 he's already got out. He's got quite a lot of gas saved up already, but going for a starport, so we are going to probably be seeing either some Phoenix or Voidways come out. And I mean, currently Sheth doesn't have anything to deal with that. He's got no evolution chamber for spores, he's only got those 2 queens, and LaZ just starting off getting his warp gate tech out, not chrono boosting though, chrono boosting out a stalker, and that stalker is just going to go and frankly kill off that Overlord ASAP. And I mean, if he does actually manage to kill off that Overlord, that'll be irritating for Sheth. It's not a huge loss, it's just annoying. And there's nothing worse than being annoyed in a game of StarCraft, especially early on, but that Overlord will be able to get away for sure, so not even close. But obviously we will just see the LaZ getting everything back up to normal, and a Phoenix coming straight out. That Phoenix will probably go and take out some Overlords. Meanwhile, we will see the Roach 1 evolution chamber timing that I've often spoken about. In a ZvP game, if you're the Zerg player, get your evolution chamber at the same time as the Roach 1, and frankly you're then safe from any Stargate play. Now this first Phoenix will come out and will pick off that Overlord. One just picked off at the top here as well for Sheth. So Sheth is now going to have to produce quite a few Overlords because he is heavily supply blocked. He actually needs a third one out, otherwise he's going to run into some problems. The first Spore Crawler is on its way. Another Overlord is probably going to get sniped out pretty damn quickly though, and this is going to be highly irritating here for Sheth, because it's going to mean that pretty much straight away he's going to be resupply blocked. Before he even got a chance to build anything, he is now capped again. Obviously there are these two Zealots moving in towards the third base, and there isn't really much in the way of defense for them. There are two Queens. Now eventually that will be able to deal with it. There are of course some units down here for Sheth as well, but he's going to have some problems there. Now one Queen lifted very quickly, and there are now 3 Phoenix in play, a 4th one coming out, and this lift move is so effective. Gotta be careful though, because there's of course a Spore there now, and that is trying to focus down the lifting Phoenix. Meanwhile, of course, the Zealots are trying to get some free kills off on these drones, but drones and Queens are quite effective against Zealots. Actually, if you take a look at what's been killed, only 4 workers killed by LaZ here so far, but looking like he's going to be able to pick off another Queen. This is incredibly irritating, and obviously also hurts the production there from Sheth, because there is no way for any sort of injectors to go down, and a couple of drones being picked up as well. And really, LaZ just can keep up this harassment for as long as he wants, and as long as he doesn't lose any of these Phoenix, he's going to try and pick off a couple more Overlords. And Overlords for free are just fantastic, because one, it hurts the supply of Sheth, but more importantly, it's, well, 100 minerals and a lava, which is taken out of the play. So obviously very nice to get those with Phoenix. The robotics bay coming out as well now, so we will be seeing some Colossi, and it looks like a drop's going to be coming down here for LaZ as well. Sheth is going to have to deal with this very carefully. This Zergling will scout it though, so frankly, will Sheth be able to respond in time? Now, a Zealot drop, obviously with the Phoenix support, could be very powerful, especially if those Zealots do focus down the Spore Crawler. And I mean, what is going to happen here? Well, the Zealots are just going to run straight in and are going to try and focus down the Queen. That Queen is going to go down tremendously fast, and it does actually look like LaZ just deciding to warp units in. That Spore Crawler is going to go down exceptionally quickly as well, and now all of these Overlords are in danger. I mean, once that Spore goes down, the air defense around here is going to be terrible. And LaZ is just picking off Overlord after Overlord. A couple of Hydras are coming out already now for Sheth, but they're just being lifted and being taken out super quickly. And I mean, those Zealots are so strong against Zerglings. They are +1 Zealots as well, so they only take 2 hits to kill off each Zergling. And I mean, just great harassment going on by LaZ, but more importantly, great play by Sheth, because he's still keeping ahead in the food count even through all this harassment, getting up his 4th base as well. Slightly hidden, but the tech is starting to come out now for LaZ. He's got that +1 ground armor on its way, and it's looking like he's going to move forward to try and take this 3rd base. But I mean, so far he's got the small problem of that Zergling still sitting there, and I mean, all while that Zergling is burrowed there, he's going to have a nightmare, because I don't even think he's got an observer out yet. Does he have an observer anywhere? He must. He doesn't. He has no observer out as of yet. Meanwhile, these Phoenix are just being irritating, but there's so many Hydras out that, frankly, the harassment from air is all but gone, and there is still no detection at all to try and deal with this. Actually getting a cannon in order to try and deal with this Zergling, but great harassment and great prevention of the expansion there by Sheth. And I mean, that Overlord is just getting sniped out so quickly. I'd love to see if there's a way to know just how many Overlords have been killed, but I mean, the amount of unit resources lost tells it all. That Colossus is going to force back this army, because frankly, Zergling Hydra armies are awful against Colossi, because they're both light, they don't have much armor, and really they don't have much HP either, and the splash from Colossi just does tremendous amounts of damage. That cannon did finally pick off that burrowed Zergling, so the 3rd base for LaZ is on its way down. but this queen getting lifted very, very nicely. All the Hydras are out of position as well, so the queen will go down, and again that just hurts the production there for Sheth, and these overlords are getting picked off, and Sheth actually microed all of his units back to try and pick this off, so 2 overlords are getting taken out, maybe a third as well. Sheth's actually walled off his main himself. That was not a clever move there, Sheth, having to kill off his own Hydra den in order to be able to get back in, and look at the amount of overlords that have been killed, a couple of drones being lifted as well, but LaZ finally going to have to run away because those Hydras are coming in. I can't believe Sheth actually walled off his own main. That was not a clever move there, and it did allow LaZ to do tremendous amounts of damage. There was a spore here though, so those Phoenix aren't going to be able to do anything, but for the little investment those Phoenix cost, look at the amount of damage they've done. I mean, look at the loss tab. I mean, LaZ has only lost 1,000 resources, a quarter of that of Sheth. This is a great position for LaZ to be in, and obviously as he gets more and more Colossi up, it's going to become harder and harder for Sheth to transition out of this incredibly heavy Hydra force he has got here. And a huge fungal growth goes off though, and those Phoenix are finally out of play, and I bet Sheth is having a sigh of relief from that, because frankly Phoenix harassment was a major opening here from LaZ, which did so much damage and was just so effective. And meanwhile there was a drop going down somewhere, I'm sure I saw somewhere a drop. Where are you? Here we go, coming up the very, very long way to eventually come up to that base, I would imagine. And well, Sheth is starting to get quite a big amount of units out, and 10 Corruptors coming, so those Corruptors will go through those Colossi like a hot knife through butter, and then really the Hydras will shine. If those Hydras can basically get in and do a lot of damage before they're killed by the splash of the Colossi, this could go very, very much in Sheth's favour. Bit of a fail force field there, but a nice try by LaZ, and really this is going to be tough for LaZ to hold, purely because of the amount of Corruptors coming out. But this drop is going to be huge. There is nothing in the way of defense up here. All of Sheth's army is so far out of position that there's just nothing he's going to be able to do. Warping in a lot more zealots as well, and I mean all of Sheth's army is coming up, but this base is going to go down. There is, frankly, I don't think he's going to be able to hold this. If he does, it'll be very, very impressive. All the Corruptors come in, and no, he won't be able to hold it at all. That base does fall, and that is a big hit to Sheth there, losing that 4th base, because he's now on equal basis with LaZ, and LaZ is even taking his own 4th base up here, which is already 2/3 done. Here comes the Colossi Stalker ball, and I mean, frankly, there's just so many Corruptors there for Sheth that LaZ would be crazy to try and engage. And Sheth is just moving forward. Fungal growth could go off and be absolutely huge here. There we go, massive fungal growth, and just look at the speed of those Colossi going down to those Corruptors there. Absolutely falling like flies, and a couple of feedbacks on those infestors will take them out. The High Templars being very, very effective, and it does actually look like Sheth committed far too much in terms of his Corruptors. Yes, he took out those Colossi super quick, but he had nothing left to deal with the Stalkers, and this could now be a problem. I mean, Sheth is getting those 24 more Roaches out, but he's going to have a tough time holding this, because these Stalkers are 2-1, plus 3 ground attack coming out now for LaZ. He's also getting out more Colossi. He's got 2 Archons in the mix. He's got another High Templar there. That High Templar is going to be able to do another feedback very, very shortly, but I mean, there's no infestors there with any energy, so that won't matter too much from LaZ's perspective. Some more Stalkers are coming out, Psionic Storm on its way. Sheth has now got 5 bases up and running compared to 4 of LaZ, but I mean, it looks like Sheth is just trying to coax forward, and Sheth does have the supply advantage. But don't be fooled, a lot of that supply is made up of those 35 Roaches. Roaches are incredibly supply heavy, and in the late game that supply just really doesn't equal effectiveness, especially against Stalkers. So this could be a tough engagement, and so much of the supply of Sheth is taken up by those Corruptors, and to be honest, LaZ doesn't want to even target them down, because frankly, all while those Corruptors are there, it's supply which isn't in things which can attack Stalkers. Great Spire is only a quarter done as well here for Sheth, and LaZ is getting up a very, very large army. That +3 is half done. Now that Colossi will just fall near instantly to that many Corruptors, but as I said, with so many Corruptors there is so few ground army for Sheth, and just look at those Stalkers go, just doing huge damage absolutely everywhere. And LaZ behind this is starting to get his 5th base up. He has just started there in the very top left, And now here comes the Stalkers running in from the back way, avoiding any of those spines, and those roaches are going to be forced back. Blink is obviously done for the Stalkers as well, and this third base of Sheth just sniped out near instantly, and good move here by Sheth, trying to block off the escape route of these Stalkers with a lot of Zerglings, but we could see some good force fields. We need those force fields to go down, and there they go. And I mean, great control from these Stalkers, just trying to deal with those Zerglings, because Stalkers are not good against Zerglings at all. But what is good are Zealots, and they are coming into the fray as we speak. A huge fungal growth is going off on all those Stalkers, and I believe that Sheth he should just be able to clean this up just from the resupplying, and he is also getting 7 Broodlords out up at this third position, so this will without doubt force LaZ back. Meanwhile though, LaZ is just warping in more units, and he has got his 5th base up now, so that is a pretty good position. Obviously the only downside is LaZ just doesn't have enough production capabilities to deal with this massive trust fund he's building up, and frankly he needs to be able to get more units out a lot quicker if he's going to keep going for these engagements. And Sheth is now a long way ahead in terms of supply, and LaZ has just got to be exceptionally careful. And still, having said that though, he doesn't have the Colossi count to deal with this mass amount of Zerglings, but obviously you will see that Sheth does have the Corruptor count to deal with that single Colossi, and the Broodlords as well are going to be very, very strong against the Stalkers, especially if they can't get a good blink forward because of the number of Zerglings. So really this game has swung around completely. LaZ is really on the back foot here, and meanwhile Sheth, as long as he plays this methodically and quite carefully, he should be fine, and it looks like he will be. He's picked off that Colossi. Some Broodlords are getting focused down, but there's just so many Zerglings and so many Roaches that frankly Sheth is just going to be able to go forward. Yes, those Stalkers are 3-1, but the Zerglings are 2-2, and the Roaches are also 2-2, so this is pretty good, and LaZ just leaves the game. I would have liked to have seen a GG there, but I mean, very well played by Sheth. LaZ, some amazing harassment at the start of the game, and I mean, frankly that was a fun game. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please thumbs up the video, please subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and tune in again. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.